Let's talk about reality for a second. Not the "are we in a simulation" kind, but the everyday stuff, the things we take completely for granted. What if I told you that a huge chunk of it is just a story, a narrative you've been handed? In this explainer, we're going to pull back that curtain and look at the invisible forces that are actually shaping our world.
So let's just jump right in with a question. Why does Monday feel so heavy? You know, that sense of dread. But Friday feels like pure relief, like you can finally take a deep breath. I mean, they're both just days on a calendar. So what's giving them all this power over our emotions?
Or here's another one for you. Why does an imaginary line drawn on a map make a person standing a few feet away from you suddenly foreign, fundamentally different from you? How does a simple line have that kind of power? And what about the constant pressure to be on time? Who actually decided what that means? And more importantly, why do we let this one little concept dictate so much of our daily lives?
You see, these feelings, the anxiety, the division, that weekly emotional roller coaster, they're not random. They're not just the way things are. Nope. They are all symptoms of a hidden system, a whole set of unseen rules that are quietly running the show.
The way to think about it is that we're all living inside these, well, invisible architectures. They're these pre-built systems of belief about everything from time to work to our own identity. And we've been taught since day one that these structures are as solid as concrete. But here's the secret. They're not.
All right, so what do we call this invisible program that's always running in the background of our minds? This reality we just sort of inherited. Let's actually give it a name so we can get a handle on it.
We can call it constructed reality syndrome. It's this strange condition where we all collectively agree to treat totally human-made ideas as if they are fundamental laws of the universe. Seriously, we act like the 9-to-5 workday is the same as gravity, when really, it was just an idea someone came up with.
And this syndrome gets installed in us through something called environmental cognitive programming. It sounds super technical, but it's pretty simple. Our environment, our culture, our education system, our society, it doesn't just give us ideas. It actually builds the entire operating system in our brains that we use to process reality itself.
So what happens then? Well, the result is that these constructs, these ideas that we never even chose for ourselves, they become like mental prisons. They set up all these artificial limits on what we believe is possible for ourselves and for the world around us.
But you know, the moment you could actually see the bars of the prison, you've already started your escape. So let's do that. Let's start unmasking some of these constructs and see just how not so real they actually are.
Just take a look at these. The 7-day week seems pretty permanent, right? But for a while during the French Revolution, they actually tried a 10-day week. National borders, the very concept of nationality, the calendar year, the 9-to-5 workday, none of these exist in the natural world. They're all just incredibly powerful collective stories that we've all agreed to live by. They're inventions, but they feel so real.
And this is where the big mental shift happens. The inherited story tells you a border is a wall. The authored reality says, hold on, it's just an idea. The old narrative says a calendar is a rule that traps you. The new one says, no, it's a tool I can use. It's the move from time controlling you to you managing time. You stop being just a character in the story and you become the author.
And that, right there, is the most crucial part. These incredibly powerful systems are all built on just one thing, our collective agreement to believe in them. They are stories that only hold power because we keep telling them.
So, if they're all just stories, what does that actually mean for us? Well, it means everything. It means we can stop just living in this reality and we can start becoming the architects of it. It's time to shift from just understanding the problem to actually taking action.
This is maybe the most empowering thought of all. If we, as a species, created these limits in the first place, then we can absolutely uncreate them. If we invented the 9-to-5, we can reinvent it. If we drew the lines on the map that divide us, we can choose to see the connections that unite us. We have the power to write a new story.
So how do we actually do it? It's really a 3-step path. First, you just have to learn to see the constructs. Start noticing these invisible architectures all around you. Second, you have to question their power. Ask yourself, why does this exist? What hold does it really have on me? And third, the final and most important step, you start to author your own reality. You consciously and deliberately choose the stories you want to live by.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Once you truly realize that you're not just a character acting out a part in someone else's story, that you are in fact the author, the only question left to ask is, what story will you write?